Okay, so everybody dreams about winning the lottery, right? Like hitting it big. Well, imagine winning the tech version of the lottery, but like several times over. That's kind of what just happened with OpenAI. They just raked in a whopping $6.6 billion in funding.
Wow.
Yeah, and not just any funding. This is like the biggest venture capital deal ever.
Ever. For
Yeah,
anything.
for anything.
That really is remarkable. It's like a huge shift, in the tech world. Everyone's saying, okay, AI is the future, but
Yeah.
this proves it.
Right. And it's not just any random companies jumping on board. We're talking Microsoft. They're already pretty cozy with OpenAI. And Nvidia. The geniuses making those chips that power all this AI stuff, they're in too. Even SoftBank, those guys, are known for taking big tech risks. When they put down money, people notice. It makes you wonder, what is it about OpenAI that's got everybody like freaking out and throwing money at them?
It's not just an investment, it's a huge statement. OpenAI's value, just like that, shot up to $157 billion.
Billion with a B.
Billion, think about it. That's more than the entire economies of a lot of countries. They're clearly getting ready to do something massive.
Yeah, and it's a bit of a head scratcher, right? Because OpenAI, they started out all idealistic. They were a nonprofit using AI for good and all that. Now, they're diving headfirst into the world of big money, big corporations, big profits. It's kind of like
Yeah.
going from like a hippie commune straight to Wall Street. Do you think this whole thing, this shift, changes their game completely?
It's a good question. I mean, going from nonprofit to for-profit, that usually means priorities change. It's a different game now, way higher stakes.
So are they going to be like the Google of AI now?
It's possible this kind of money could make them the biggest player in AI, for sure. But it also makes you think about their whole original mission, right?
Yeah.
Can they really chase profits and make sure AI is good for everyone?
It's a tough balance, that's for sure, especially with the amount of money they're already pulling in. Get this, $3.7 billion in revenue this year. Just this year.
It's incredible.
It's mind-blowing. But hold on, get this, they're still operating at a loss.
Really?
Yeah, how does that even work? $3.7 billion in revenue and they're still in the red. What are they doing with all that cash? It's like, are they building rocket cars in their research lab or something?
Well, the rocket car analogy isn't that far off, actually. Creating this cutting-edge AI. It's insanely expensive. Think about it. The data they use is massive, the algorithms are crazy complicated, and they constantly need more powerful computers.
I get it, it's expensive, but $3.7 billion in revenue and they're still in the red? That's wild. What is it about AI research that makes the economics so different?
Imagine this. Just training one of those large language models, like the things that power chatbots. That alone can cost millions.
Yeah.
And that's just an electricity cost. Then add in what they pay those top-level researchers, the constant upgrades to their systems, and just the sheer amount of data they're handling. It's nonstop. They're always putting money back in. That $6.6 billion gives them some breathing room, sure. But if they want to stay on top, they're going to have to figure out how to make this whole AI thing actually profitable.
So they're going to turbocharge research. Okay, but like, what does that even mean? What are they researching? It can't just be about making ChatGPT better at writing poems, right? So what are these complex problems they're going after?
Yeah, you're right. It's way bigger than just making existing tech better. OpenAI's thinking much bigger. Think about those huge problems everyone's worried about. Climate change,
Yeah.
disease, not having enough resources. Those are the kinds of things they're probably looking at with all this money.
Whoa. So they're going to try to like cure cancer using AI or come up with brand new energy sources?
It's possible,
Yeah.
but it goes even beyond that.
Yeah.
OpenAI, they want to push the limits of what AI can even do. Like, they're pouring money into totally new ways of doing AI, new algorithms, that sort of thing. And they want to build artificial general intelligence.
Yeah.
Like the really smart kind,
It's a lot to take in. And speaking of things changing at OpenAI, there's been some interesting stuff happening with their leadership team, right? Their CTO, Mira Murati, and a few other bigwigs decided to leave. I mean, people leaving companies, that's normal. It happens all the time, especially in Silicon Valley. But with all this money pouring in, the pressure to, like, change the world with AI, it makes you wonder if something else is going on behind the scenes, right?
Yeah, it's definitely something to keep an eye on. When people at the top leave, it can mean a lot of things. Maybe they disagree about the direction the company's going in. Maybe there are personality clashes. Remember, OpenAI is going through a huge change right now.
Yeah.
And those growing pains, sometimes they shake things up.
For sure. Change can be messy, especially with something as crazy complicated as AI. But it does make you think, what kind of conversations are happening at OpenAI right now? Like, how do they feel about how this technology should be made, how it should be used? Are people fighting about it?
Those are important questions. And it's not just happening at OpenAI. The whole world's trying to figure out this AI thing.
Yeah.
The potential is huge, but so are the things we need to be careful about.
Yeah, like the whole robots are going to take our jobs thing.
Well, that's one part of it, for sure.
Mhm.
Losing jobs is a real concern, but it goes deeper. We have to think about bias and algorithms, keeping data private, and what happens if AI is used for bad stuff, you know?
Right, right.
Yeah.
It's like the more powerful AI gets, the higher the stakes get.
Exactly. And that's why it's so important to talk about all of it, not just the tech stuff, but the ethics too.
Mm.
It's not just what can we do with AI, but what should we do?
It's almost like too much to think about, right?
Yeah.
We started with ChatGPT writing silly poems, and now we're talking about like curing cancer and AI being so smart it might not need us anymore. So like for everyone listening, what's the big takeaway? What should they be thinking about with all this crazy AI stuff happening?
It can feel overwhelming, that's for sure. Things are moving so fast. But honestly, I think the most important thing is to just stay aware. Don't just read the headlines and move on. Ask yourself, are you excited about what AI could do? Or are you more worried about the downsides? You know, the what if it goes wrong stuff.
It's true. It's kind of like we're all part of this giant experiment and nobody has the instruction manual.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's why it's so important for everybody to be involved, to be informed. It's not just the scientists in the labs who are deciding how this all plays out. What we all think, what we all do, it matters.
So it's not enough to just like understand how that technology works. It's also about being part of the conversation about how it gets used.
That's it, exactly.
Yeah.
Which brings us to, well, a final thought, I guess.
Mm.
If you were in charge of OpenAI, with all that money, all that power, what problem would you try to solve? What would your AI future look like?
Something to think about, huh?
Hmm.
Because ultimately the future of AI, it's really in all of our hands.
Wow. Okay. I think that's something we all needed to hear today. Thanks for breaking it all down for us.
Happy to do it. It's a fascinating topic. It is. And hey, listeners, thanks for joining us for another deep dive. We'll catch you next time when well, who knows what we'll be diving into next. Until then, keep those brains buzzing.